So I think something that people are interested in is how you bring the Myers-Briggs into your coaching or personality systems.
Yeah. When people are feeling dysthymic or depressed, it's possible that it could be partially because they're not living in their flow state. And your flow state has to do with sometimes your dominant function. It means you've been kind of ignoring that big part of your psyche and you're trying to like almost like parts of your life are not incorporating as much as you need it to feel replenished. Your battery is never going to be recharged if you don't put yourself in situations where it can be recharged. And
Right.
so it's your cognitive stack is a good way to see your needs, but in a very nerdy way. Yeah. The cognitive functions give you terms to describe human phenomenon. And so it'll allow you to go like, oh, that's why I do that. For instance, so there are perceivers in the Myers-Briggs like you, Leon, and then there are judgers in the Myers-Briggs like me. So it's the end of your code. It's the J or the P. And how I apply this to coaching is that judgers, they don't notice it or they might not realize it, but they're pre-programmed to choose. And what that means is like there's an itch you can't scratch until you have closure. Like judges need a sense of closure with the things that they do or in the outer world. Because they lead with FE or TE, but that's too nerdy. So, yeah. And when you get a judger to realize that they're pre-programmed to choose, sometimes they can realize, oh, that's why I always need closure. Or I need my P friends like Leon to like when they're being too open-ended and they have many options to pick one. Yeah, so it's kind of like realizing your psychology and your unconscious expectations for other people because of your psychology. When when you realize that not everyone is like this, it's just some weird judger thing where they're just always like closure oriented, whereas perceivers are more open ended in general. It's like, oh, my perceiving friend, loves me. They just love me differently. And so it's kind of like we might see someone who's defying our expectations as someone who's trying to purposely annoy us.
Mm-hmm.
But no one wakes up in the morning going like, in how many ways can I annoy Joyce today? No one's thinking that. So it's because of a fundamental personality
Except
difference.
me.
Yeah, Leon, you just always want to annoy me. No, you're great. I talking to you, Leon. Yeah, yeah.
And
It's almost
when I hear you're speaking, I sense that you're helping others understand the greater purpose behind everything. That every person has a reason for existing, and also within our lives too. You can really tap into seeing, oh, this is what this person provides, and this is what I provide for them, and helping them to realize a healthy interdependence.
absolutely. I'm helping people find their purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and so that they can really accept that they have strengths first of all, and then see how to best use it in the world too.
Yes.
It's kind of like what happens to people sometimes is that they won't realize that they have strengths. They just think it's everyone should have it. It's like, oh, this is just common sense. You should be able to do this. But if they just accepted that that was a strength of theirs, that they realize that that's what they bring to the world, and that they shouldn't really like expect that of people sometimes, and that because sometimes we're made to like downplay our strengths, and people don't realize it. So sometimes when you say it out loud, people get more affirmed in their purpose because they're like, oh, I guess that's not everyone. That's something I uniquely bring. Or it's almost like people in their regular day-to-day life don't realize their purpose, so you start to forget it because it's not reinforced by what you're surrounded with. So it's almost like I'm there to reinforce their purpose.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
so they can see it again.
it's reinforcing purpose through acceptance. That when people could come to a place where they accept themselves and they accept others,
Mhm.
then there's that greater sense of alignment.
Absolutely. Yeah. Alignment comes from not resisting too. So when you accept yourself and other people, you're not constantly resisting everything that happens in your life. And that
Mhm.
causes a lot less psychological burden on you because you're not constantly in a negative space with the things that are happening in your life.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And how about you, like as an INFJ, right? What kind of strengths do you bring to coaching?
I bring I bring a type of wisdom, I guess, because I'm kind of taking what everyone's saying or what my coachee is saying, and then I'm distilling it to a sentence. And I'm basically able to put what they're trying to say to me very succinctly and with all the meaning still retained in that. So then they can realize with more clarity what they're actually like, what everything they're saying is pointing to.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm looking for the common theme within all of their statements. And then basically I'm letting them know it just very like to the point. So then it's almost like when it's refined or condensed down so much that it's kind of like so point blank in your face that it's kind of like, wow, that was really well put. I don't know,
Hmm.
it makes people feel listened to because it's almost like I was able to take what they said and then distill it to its essence and then tell them it. So it's kind of like reaffirming reaffirming their essence through understanding the
Yes.
essence of their words.
Yes. Yes. Um, I, I believe that people could really appreciate that, that they could appreciate someone to really help them gain that sense of clarity about themselves
Hmm.
and with that sense of non-judgment.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I kind
Hmm.
of provide a non-judgmental space for people.
Hmm.
I kind of let them know that they are okay. Like,
Yes.
I'm not judging anything they're saying. I'm just trying to understand it with all of my brain power, all of the horsepower in this skull.
What's something that, for instance, like as an INFP myself, right? What kind of insights, like when you meet INFPs in general, that you think be helpful for them?
That to just start, no matter what you're making, just put it out there, even if you think it's not good enough yet. To just keep producing. And I
Hmm.
know you might be a little critical of your creations, but momentum is really key.
Hmm.
Um, if you fear looking like a fool, you'll never be a master. So you kind
Hmm.
of have to embarrass yourself a few times in
Hmm.
order to become or to have true mastery at
Hmm.
something. So don't be
Yes.
afraid to look a little silly. That's a part of the learning process.
Yes.
Also, what you create is probably beautiful anyway. So you're probably the harshest judge of what you're creating.
Hmm. So, what's a way that people could start working with you?
Yeah, I guess they could use my Calendly link and they can book a session and they can try it out and see if
Okay.
they like it.
All right.
Yeah.
And I have that information down below.
Awesome. Thank you so
Mhm.
much, Leon. Yeah.
Yes.
And everyone check out Leon's his psychotherapy too. It's really amazing.
Thanks so much for joining my show, Joyce.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. You're a very great you're really great at asking questions. I feel very natural talking to you.